Leo, you've entered the House of Sigils. Welcome in. Today's reading will be for Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. And at the end, we will pull a secret language of the darkness and a secret language of the light card. As always, take what resonates and leave the rest behind. I'm going to start by dividing the cards into two piles. The left side will be the yin energy, the top card, and the bottom. The right hand pile will be the yang energy, also top and bottom. With this spread, I will not read reversals. Cards have been shuffled, space has been cleansed. My crystal ball, my wand in front of me, sigil of protection close at hand, called in spirit to ask them to be with us. And let's see what's going on, Leo. We have the Prince of Cups. We have the Prince of Cups. So we have the air of water. We have steam, right? If this card had a noise, it would be a steam room, right? It would be hot iron being quenched in water, right? The Prince of Cups. So this is either you or someone close to you, as the core cards usually are people, but they don't necessarily have to be. This is someone whose thinking is ahead of their time and thinks fast. As it is the air of water, thoughts about emotions, right? We can see that he holds a chalice, and inside the chalice is a serpent rising from that chalice. But see, we can see there's so much emotion being condensed from thought that it's dripping through the card and dripping into the water below him, right? And so this is a card of forward-moving thinking being fueled by emotion, right? So much so that you probably are the type of person, or this person around you has to slow down and break their ideas down into a more fundamental form to express them, because your thinking probably is ahead of your time. And I can imagine there's something you're possibly working on that would indicate that. Let's take a deeper peek into the Prince of Cups. Prince of Cups, the airy aspect of water, desires, wishes, cravings, possibilities for transformation. So this is wishes and desires that need to be perceived and recognized. They're fundamental driving forces in our lives. So the desire that comes from deep within, that has to become real. But they're only possible to master if we're wide awake and alert to them. They're not really urges and desires that can be bypassed. They have to be integrated, right? Hence why I explained it a little bit about as breaking down the ideas so others can understand. These are a lot of times manifest in a sort of primal desire or a sexual desire, right? Something needs to be lived out in your life, right? You're creating something internally that has to be expressed. So you're longing for something so much so that it's creating sort of this actual palpable emotion or steam in the air. As we know, the princesses are the sort of intellectual side of the study of things. The princes are sort of putting those things into practice. So something needs to come out, Leo. I don't know what it is, whether it's creativity or a desire or longing for something, but something is pushing to come out so that you can embody it in the Queen and then put it into actual practice in the King or the Knight in the Thoth Tarot. Let's look a little deeper. Let's get a little more clarity on what you're outwardly expressing of yourself towards others and toward your environment. So the effect you're having on others, how you are influencing your environment. We have the Hierophant. So Taurus energy, right? We have this idea of a hierarchy or a confinement into a space of learning. Let's get a little bit more clarity on the Hierophant in this instance and see where this evolves. So spiritual mastery, a teacher, an advisor, an initiate, an inner guide, spiritual father, highest transformation. Is it possible that and I'm just picking up on this a little bit, so whoever this is for, is it possible that one of these desires, these longings for emotional connection, is from a father figure, is from a spiritual master or a teacher, or something along those lines, where your longing needs to be directed or needs to be tempered or needs to be directed through a teacher or a master or a father figure or someone that you can look up to? And I have a feeling that it may not necessarily be super present in your life, and maybe it's something that you have longed for, some sort of structure, some sort of element that could bring your full expression into being, right? Bringing a little wisdom into that emotion that you're experiencing. So the search for that longing, that self, does lead you into that spiritual place, whatever it is that needs to come out. And so seeking the presence of that master and teacher, or a group of people, can help that longing and that desire come out and move forward for personal growth. So you're going to want to be honest and receptive and maybe open to these groups or this person or this teacher that you're longing for instruction for, but be patient with it, right? Be open to the instructions that are going to be given. But your heart is going to speak to that. And so knowing that you're the only true voice, this is a little bit contradictory, but the only true voice that you need to listen to is the one of your heart, the one that's speaking. But the one of your heart wants to come out so badly that it needs to be guided in some way. And you sense that and you know it. Let's look at what you are receptive to, so which people, energies, and events you are currently attracting. Strife, 5 of Wands. More Leo energy popping up for you. There is a spiritual struggle here, right, going on. A strife, an internal strife with those parts of you that aren't sure what to do with this desire that you have, but it needs to be guided and moved forward in a certain way. But there is some internal conflict about that situation, or possibly some external conflict as well. Let's look a little bit into the 5 of Wands to give you some more insight. So Saturn in Leo, right? Obvious Leo energy. Unfulfilled desires, right? Embittered, fearful, and vain striving. So it could be that you've been experiencing this for a while. You've been striving for something. You know you have this gift inside you that you need to unlock. And it feels like you've been doing so in vain, and it's unfulfilled. But there has to be someone or something or a teacher or a way or a guide or a light to show you through this, to show you the path to bringing it out, right? And it could be that dark aspect of you. It could be the shadow work that you need to do, and we'll get a little more clarity on that. But we can see that the situation is you're in danger of resigning yourself. And maybe you have many times searching for this desire, but it keeps coming back. You can't stop it. You know it has to happen, but you keep resigning yourself because you just don't know how to go about doing it and how to go about releasing it. But try not to be overwhelmed, and always look back at that flame that is fueling that air that makes that steam in the water, right? So it's the airy part of water, but we need the fire to fuel it. It just needs to be instructed. It just needs to have a bit of that spiritual side injected into it to obtain that desire. What obstacles are there in your life that are stopping you from obtaining that desire, right? Is it a mountain of duties? Is it a bunch of tasks that are standing in front of you? So take it step by step and really break it down. Really break it down so that you can get more insight into what this Saturn in Leo is, right? So let's look at what could be the key. So a way in which we can overcome the problem actively, or at least suggest a way around it. Sometimes, though, this presents as the problem, but sometimes the key is the problem, and these cards help you move through it. So the Nine of Cups and happiness. And so in this sense, the cups are always talking about emotions, and with the Nine of Cups, this represents the idea of, it's the energy of Pisces, right? But it represents a fulfilled emotional happiness. You're completely happy. But that's the problem, right? That's the problem, Leo, is that you want to feel this, right? And you want to feel it fully, and you can a lot of times, but you can't really feel it, right? Because you have this desire that needs to be directed. It needs something behind it, some type of substance, some type of spiritual injection, something that is transformative in a way to bring you to this happiness, right? Because we have the fire, and we have the emotions that go with it, and we have the air, right? And we even have a little bit of earth here. But to truly be happy, we need to be able to direct that desire, whatever it is, that desire for happiness, and it needs to come in the form of spirituality in this particular spread. But you're capable, right? Take everything a little bit easy, breathe, move through it step by step. You can realize your goals. And how can you take this mountain of duties and tasks in front of you and break them down and understand how to get to that place that you desire? Let's get you a Secret Language of the Darkness. This has already been shuffled. I'm just going to pull one directly out of the middle and see where it lines up. Worries, 22. So I'm going to place this over here with Strife, the illusion of control, right? 22. The illusion of control, worry. Your concerns for the future are blinding you to the wonderment in your life today. In an effort to feel safe in the present, you seek to control the outcomes of the future. And that could be the thing that's blocking you from that true desire, is that you're living in the future. You're striving internally and struggling internally so that you aren't able to actually see the present happiness that is in front of you, right? Trauma or a series of hurts may have caused you to become hyper-vigilant. When we are young, we seek safety. In a chaotic environment, we look to adults or social groups to learn how to feel safe. But many of us were not taught or encouraged to process unsafe feelings because our parents didn't even know how, right? Thus, they move through and into the shadow and can become unhealthy coping strategies. You may think you will feel safe if you can ensure everyone is okay and everything is done. And that only then will you be worthy enough to create and live your dreams. But there will always be some things that are out of your control. Your worries for the future have been trying to keep you safe. They have gotten you here, yes. Thank them for their support, but it is now time to heal and step into the future with confidence. And, maybe that does bounce over here to the Hierophant, right? And an understanding, a spiritual understanding that you do have these things that need to be moved through and sort of incorporated into your life, and you weren't taught necessarily how to take these feelings and transmogrify or transform them into true happiness, right? And letting go of worry and the illusion of control is one way to do that. Let's get you a card of light and see how this balances out. We have Divine Feminine. The Divine Feminine, number 31. Shine your inner light on your desires. Wow. Okay. We've been talking about desire through this entire reading. Look beyond the obvious and the superficial into the heart of a matter. Peer deeper into the hidden and explore the mysterious. Remember your vast potential and the unlimited possibilities available to you. It is time to trust your intuition, your inner voice, and your instincts. This may also be a time for stillness, for there are unseen forces at work, orchestrating the whole universe to bring intense and beautiful experiences to your life. Allow yourself to receive all that you want. You are the mother of all you create. Nurture yourself and all that flows within and around you. There may be an impending marriage or a birth around you, either physically or symbolically. The Divine Feminine wants you to know that there is always enough to go around. Abundance is everywhere. Embrace the joy. And so it is quite possible that you have spent a lot of time hoping that this desire of yours will come to fruition, and that this teacher that you seek, whether it's the self or the cosmos or an actual person, is the catalyst or the defining fire, right, that helps you gain this happiness. But it's very possible that dwelling on the thoughts of it and understanding that you may have or want some control over the situation is creating that impediment that is not allowing you to get all the way to that Nine of Cups. But then by embracing everything that you are, your Divine Feminine, and it's a genderless reading. However, I do get the feeling that this reading is for someone of feminine persuasion. But by embracing these inner qualities, that you will understand that your desires are actually present in front of you in the process, right? In the dance, in the abundance of joy that is already in your life. So I hope this resonates with you, Leo. Leave a comment below if it does, if there's some aspect that does. Let me know if you experienced anything or saw anything in the crystal ball. Share, comment, subscribe, like, all the things. And remember to please keep your sigil of protection close at hand should the darkness answer your call.